Gayle Saunders here with Brenden Deeg. We are fourthandjohn.com. The Eagles just had a bye week, and for us, maybe we got a little vacation. Brenden, how are you feeling after this bye week?
It was good to get a Sunday and no stress, especially the past 2 weeks. Good games to watch too. I think it was a perfect time to have a bye week
Yeah.
right in the middle of the season, and there was a lot of good games on. So I think it was perfect timing. It was exactly what the Eagles needed.
And speaking of exactly what the Eagles needed, me and Brenden have put together a list of our top 5 things that we would like to see from the Eagles coming out of the bye.
So number 5, I'm going to start with special teams. I think not talked about enough issue is Jake Elliott this year, and just the special teams in general. Jake Elliott's been struggling. He hasn't been himself. I think 30 to 39-yard field goals. He's been, for some reason, he's shaky on those, and he can hit the long 50s.
Yeah.
But I think the special teams definitely has to pick it up. I think we could use a couple big plays. When Sproles gets back, maybe he's the guy that can spark up the special teams. DeAndre Carter has been bad, but we haven't had one of those big plays that kind of gets momentum for the team. Plays that championship teams need, especially last year. I think we had a couple big plays on special teams. Sproles is always good for at least one touchdown a year.
Yeah.
Punt return or kick return. So I think that's something that definitely we could that they should focus on. And
so in your mind, is Jake Elliott on the hot seat?
I think if he didn't hit that 61-yarder last year, I actually think that people would be talking a lot more about maybe replacing him. But I think if he misses a couple, if he goes like 2 for 4 or misses 1 or 2 in a row, I think definitely will be on the hot seat. Not at the moment, but watch out for it.
Okay, number 5 for me is Dallas Goedert. For me, he was one of the guys, the prospects I had singled out as a really good selection for the Eagles. When they brought him in, it was something that I loved the selection. But I think a guy with his size, his skill set, his ability to actually even be a serviceable blocker, and he's got great hands as well. I think down by the goal line, I think it's imperative that the Eagles start to use him more. I think with a guy like Golden Tate implemented into this offense, I think Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, and a Golden Tate, I think you got to take advantage of the mismatches and you got to take advantage of defenses getting to that third target, because usually when you get into that your third guy, that's a guy that you can take advantage of defenses. So
yeah, completely agree. I think he's got he always has one play or two he kind of shines, and he disappears the rest of the game. I think he had that big touchdown in Jacksonville. So I think he'll make strides. There's only one ball to go around, and Ertz seems to be hogging it. So we'll see how he does. But yeah, definitely we definitely utilize him more his size in the red zone. So number 4, I'm gonna go with Jim Schwartz, maybe mixing it up late in games with his packages. I think that Carolina game was killer. We were rushing 4 linemen really every play. It was just straight backed off coverage, no man-to-man. We weren't rushing anyone more than 4. Our D linemen were getting tired. You could tell the rotation was tired at the end. Cam Newton was picking us apart. I think Jim Schwartz has got to do a better job of mixing up his play call, especially late in games to close out games, get pressure on the quarterback. It's gonna be a team effort too. We don't have one. We don't got a top 5 pass rusher. We got a bunch of kind of top 20, top 30 pass rushers that need to. So we'll take a team effort, but for sure, I think that's a big emphasis in the rest of the year. I'm a Jim Schwartz defender. I know he's been getting a lot of hate on Twitter lately, especially after that Carolina game. So I think he's got to step up and prove that he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, which I thought he was going into the year. He had a good year last year, but he's got to mix up definitely. Got to close out games, and it's going to start with getting pressure on the quarterback.
Now, speaking of pressure, my number 4 is more pressure up front from the defensive line. Obviously, Jim Schwartz likes to get pressure with 4, but I think Brandon Graham coming back from injury isn't yet his regular self. I think Timmy Jernigan implemented back into this defensive front could work wonders. I think
Big addition,
Fletcher,
yeah.
Fletcher Cox has been all world this season, but I think we need more pressure up front. I think it's got to start with that front four to get back to where we were last season.
That Timmy Jernigan news today was big. I thought that was I was waiting for it because I know they waived Bruce Hector earlier on the week, so I knew it was coming. Yeah, it was big. Like, he puts a lot of pressure up front. He allows Fletcher Cox to kind of get more space to work with and beat some double teams. But yeah, it's like you're adding a top 10 defensive tackle, top 15 defensive tackle this late in the season. It's a huge addition. Yeah, but definitely they need to get more pressure on the quarterback. That's how they won games last year. We won the Super Bowl on Brandon Graham's sack. They gotta make plays like that. So at number 3 is going to be Rasul Douglas. I think he needs to get a start. I don't know what is happening, why he is not getting more time. I think with the secondary, I think Jalen Mills is week to week. I don't know if he's going to be ready Sunday night against Dallas. I think if he's not, I think it's time for Rasul Douglas to get more playing time. All he does is make plays for us. He's always around the ball. He's always making plays when he gets his time. But I want to see a start from him. I want to see what we got in him. He was a 3rd round pick. He's got the length. He's got the speed. I don't know if Jim Schwartz has a vendetta against him, but I'd like to see him get a start for sure.
Hashtag free Rasul.
Yeah.
I think you look at that play that they put him on a island versus one of the wide receiver gods, Julio Jones, and he came up with a pick.
Exactly.
So I feel like if you have that much confidence in Rasul Douglas to be on an island against one of the greatest receivers in the game right now, why can't you put him on the field more often like we'd like to see him?
One of the mysteries of the year. I don't really understand it, but like I said, Jalen Mills might not be ready to go Sunday night, so if he's not, then Sidney Jones is still out. It will definitely be Rasul will definitely get his time, and I think he deserves it. He deserves a shot to show what he's worth. A 3rd round pick, big investment in him. We haven't been able to draft corners very well. Jalen Mills and probably our only corner we drafted the past 3 years. It's actually kind of panned out. It was a 7th round pick, so we put a lot of investments in corners in the past 2 years of the draft. So I think it's time to show see what he's got, and that's what I'm looking for. I want to see it. It's a big mystery though.
Number 3 for me is a more consistent running game from the Philadelphia Eagles. I know, looking at our group of backs that we have, there's no barn burner in there. It's a list of undrafted free agents and Josh Adams and Corey Clement, Wendell Smallwood, a.k.a. Old Navy, I like to call him. So it's a bunch of backs that, there are no headliners here. And I think Darren Sproles, once he comes back from injury, you have 4 backs that are interchangeable. But I think they, while they're not going to light the barn on fire, I'd like to see a more committed run game. But I think adding a guy like Golden Tate to the offense kind of, to me, means they're going to start passing the ball even a little bit more, involving those screens, but even jet sweeps. If you're going to involve some jet sweeps, I'll take that. If it's more consistent for the run game, I'm all for it.
Yeah, the Golden Tate, he's almost a running back playing wide receiver.
Yeah.
A lot of his catches are at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, so he'll definitely help out the run game too. My number 2 is they got to get more big plays on offense. They have one play more than 40 yards this year, and it's probably one that everyone forgets. Shelton Gibson against the Vikings, I think it was a 48-yarder. And it's one no fans really remember because it wasn't that big of a deal. Last year we had many big plays, bunch coming to mind. I think Jordan Matthews is the only touchdown more than 30. We got to get more big plays on the offense. Wentz is throwing it 5, 10, 15 yards every play. We're not going down the field. We're 1 for 4 with more than 40 yards. It's not good enough. You got to stretch the field more. Wentz has got a cannon of an arm. You got to use it. I think Doug Pearson's got to get some more play calls to open up the field. His scheme's been kind of not like him last year, especially in that Vikings and Patriots game. He was they were opening up the field a lot. But we'll see. I think that's a big. I think that's gonna be. I think it's be a big focus for the Eagles' offense is getting more big plays. They haven't have a speed receiver. That Mike Wallace injury kind of was a big downer. They don't really have a field stretcher. Golden Tate is kind of that guy. He's more of a he's more around the line of scrimmage kind of guy. But I think he'll open up the offense. I'm looking for Alshon Jeffrey to be a more big play guy. And I don't know, maybe Sheldon Gibson, maybe a guy like that, Jordan Matthews. Nelson Aguilar is only averaging like 9 yards a reception this year. So
Yeah.
maybe he can get down the field more like last year. But yeah, they gotta move the ball more down the field. For sure.
Yeah, explosive plays are, that's the name of the game. I think it opens up the offense. I think with no consistent deep threat guy for the Eagles, you haven't seen that guy actually stretch,
No.
the field and open up other things underneath for the other guys. So
Exactly.
I wholeheartedly believe in your number two. For
Mhm.
me, the number two for me would be the aggressiveness, as I keep on begging for an aggressive Doug Peterson, an aggressive Jim Schwartz, whether it be bringing more pressure with the blitzes, having your defensive backs play press man more than off man. I think he has to set his players up to succeed. I'd like to see that more from Jim Schwartz. Put his players in the best possible position, to work wonders for your defense.
Mhm.
I think Doug Peterson in his book talking about Doug Marrone taking his foot off the gas. I think he has to, take in his own words and not
Yeah.
take the foot off the gas,
Mhm.
especially in the end of games. I think curb stomp mentality has
Mhm.
got to be the way for Doug Peterson coming out of the bye.
Yeah, I agree that I think it was that Panthers game. He kicked the field goal at the end. It was like 4th and 1, like in half. I didn't like that. That was prime time Doug Pearson to go for it. It's weird. I think, like I said, I think that Frank Reich. I was talking about it earlier. That Frank Reich loss. I think it's a lot bigger than people think. I think it's kind of slow down the offense a little bit in the play calling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely on the offense, Doug Pearson's got to be more aggressive. That's what made a name for himself. Right? That's how everyone knows him around the league. You watch every game, they bring up 4th down plays. Doug Pearson's name's always thrown out on every game you watch. The announcers love saying Doug Pearson always goes for it. But he hasn't been like that this year.
Yeah.
So definitely, I agree.
Now, for your should we unleash the drum roll? What is your number
Well,
one thing that
my
you'd like to
number
see
one is
from?
your number three. They gotta get a rushing attack going. I wrote about it on 4th and John, my last piece. Um, Look, I was all over Twitter like 2 weeks leading up to the deadline. I wanted a running back. I thought Howie Roseman was the prime time to get one with J.J.'s injury. I
Uh,
thought this was like Howie Roseman's always aggressive, like the J.J. trade last year. I thought they needed one. They got Golden Tate. He's almost a running back, like I said earlier. I was a wide receiver. But the 3 running backs they got right now wouldn't start on any team in the NFL. Besides, like, we don't have a number one back. I'm looking for Josh Adams to step up, and Corey Clement has been completely invisible this year in the passing game and the running game. I know he was hurt, but they got to
quad.
get going. Yeah, his quad injury. He's only averaging like 3.3 yards a carry, something like that. That's not gonna cut it. Even the passing game, he's been invisible too. So even the carries he's getting, he's not doing much with them. Josh Adams had a really good game in Jacksonville. He runs hard, but he's not a workhorse back. They get all three, the Smallwood, Adams, and Clement. They got to pick it up. I'm looking for them to step up, and Doug Pearson's got to get more aggressive with the run. Can't be throwing the ball every play when you're up by 17 points. You gotta run down the clock. You gotta get the defense on the heels. Carolina just knew we were passing the ball in the
Yeah.
second half. Wentz was completing passes, but they were going for 3-4 yards. Carolina knew it. We didn't have any run game going.
Quick
Doug
question for
Pearson,
you: if there was any backs available out there, what back would you wanted the
I wanted
Eagles
David
to trade
Johnson.
for?
I wanted David Johnson so badly. I thought he was the guy.
Yeah.
Um, Carolina or Arizona, sorry, wasn't going to give him up. I know there's rumors that the Eagles were they were calling Arizona, asking about him. I thought that was the perfect fit. A 3-down back. That's exactly what we needed. But it didn't happen. I don't think the running back market was actually out there. Bills won hold on to McCoy. David Johnson wasn't available. I don't think there was kind of that back that how he wanted. I'm sure he tried, but yeah, David Johnson's definitely my guy. But you know what, Golden Tate, like he's a possession receiver. It's close jet sweeps like you were talking about earlier. He's the kind of guy that can get the ball in his hands and make plays. That'll definitely open up the running game. So if you're not going to get a running back, David Johnson, Golden Tate as a wide receiver is
Yeah, the guy that I wanted was Tevin Coleman. That for me, I was like, all right, a guy who, he's a speed back, but he has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, and does a decent job blocking up front. He's shown that he's pretty serviceable with him stepping up for the Falcons as of late. But now the Falcons are, starting to win a couple games, so they might be in it. So I know they didn't want to.
Big win against Redskins helped us.
Yeah,
yeah. Tevin Coleman had a big game against them too.
Yeah. So coming down to my number one, it's all about Golden Tate, and I like to see, the Eagles use a guy that they gave up, had pretty decent draft capital. I mean, third round picks are where you find guys like Kareem Hunt in the third round. You find really talented players in the third round. So I think, with Golden Tate, he's got to be utilized perfectly. And whether if it's the next 8 games, you gave up some heavy. I'm a draft dude. You give up like a draft capital. You better have a great plan to use Golden Tate. But the thing I like about Golden Tate, he's a consistent weapon. He's consistent on third down. He's one of the best receivers on third down, not named Antonio Brown. I think he's a playmaker and a chain mover, and he's got a versatile skill set, whether it's jet sweeps, you put him in the backfield, widen him out into the slot, on screens. I think Golden Tate is a phenomenal player. He's a 30-year-old player, but the Eagles, they're all about trying to win this NFC East right now, and I think they added a playmaker that they needed. But Golden Tate it is.
No, definitely. Big pickup. Third round pick was a hefty price for, like, I think a rental. I don't think he's coming back. You have to pay him or Aguilar. I think in the end they end up paying Aguilar. But yeah, definitely it's a big mix up. I like what Howie did, being aggressive. They need some sort of motivation. Prove to the guys that won the Super Bowl last year that management still believes in them. I think it was a big pickup. It will help the locker room out. But yeah, he's the only guy besides Antonio Brown with 90 catches the past 4 years. It's a big number. Eagles haven't had a guy like that in a long time. So yeah, it's a big addition. I think it's whatever on every Eagles mind or every Eagles fan's mind. Everyone's waiting to see what he can do. It reminds me, I think last year we off the bye we picked up Ajayi, and then we had the Cowboys Sunday night, and he went for that big run. It's almost similar to that, right? It's got that kind of same feel. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do.
And he's had some big games against the Cowboys, so
exactly, he's a Cowboy killer. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
But for all the viewers out there, Brenden, where can they find you on Twitter?
So my ad is Brenden Deeg, so you can find me on Twitter, BRENDENDEEG, first last name. I got articles on 4th and John. You can check them out. I'll be posting weekly. But yeah, I'm excited for Sunday night, and go Birds.
Yeah, and if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at Eagle Sessions on Twitter. And I guess that's all for us, man. Our top 5s, you guys heard it here first. Let's get that W against the Cowboys this week. Go Birds.